Open your heart. Open your soul. Open your.
The recording has started.
Open your soul. Open your heart. 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 Open your soul. Jayarade. Open your heart. Open your soul. Open your heart. Open your soul. Open your heart. Open your soul. Open your heart, open your soul, open your heart, open your soul, open your heart, open your soul, Jayarade. Open your heart, open your soul, open your heart, open your soul, open your heart, open your soul,
Aloha. Good evening. This is Andrew Aloha live out of Flagstaff, Arizona with Kirtan Productions on pre-conference call and YouTube, establishing and maintain right relationships with human value. Aloha and welcome to tonight's Golden Age Music Show. Tonight we have Jason Rotman all the way out of California with his album Divine Devotion. Aloha, Jason.
Aloha, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. And just to let you guys know, Jason Rotman has been playing sacred chant music since 2008 as Krishna's Kirtan, a group that is known for sharing explosive and devotional Kirtan, sacred chanting. Ecstatic Kirtan is the essence of all yoga. Krishna's Kirtan is an expression of this unlimited joy and devotion. Krishna's Kirtan's first studio album is a collaboration with producer John J.T. Thomas, keyboardist for Grammy Award-winning Bruce Hornsby's band in Los Angeles, California. For more on Jason Rotman and devotion or Divine Devotion, you can go to www.krishnakirtan.com. And we're going to come back and talk to Jason here in a few minutes. Though right now, I want to give a big aloha to all of our underwriters that help make this show happen from week to week, month to month, year to year, beginning with the 90-Day Ascension Journey at and that's the number 90dayascensionjourney.com. Excuse me. When you sign up for the 90-Day Ascension Journey, you will be facilitated with defining and redefining your soul true life purpose. You will be assisted with finding out what ascension means to you. On this journey, you will be provided with tools, techniques, and assistance to empower you to connect and reconnect with yourself, your emotions and feelings in your mind, body, and spirit. Through a universal soul center process, you will be going through a lifelong transformation that will help, allow you to move forward with your endeavors and never look back if you dare. And then we also have a Novate at www.spiritualimageproductions.novate.com, and that's ANOVITE, and that's a French word. I can't remember what it means, but anyhow, with over 25,000 scientific papers published on colostrum, a 90-day guarantee, and winner of the Healthy Living People's Choice Award twice over, Novate focuses on helping people with weight loss, anti-aging, heart disease, diabetes, depression, high blood pressure, asthma, allergies, rheumatoid arthritis, inflammation, gout, lupus, fibromyalgia, Crohn's disease, cancer, ulcers, the polio virus, chronic infections, digestive disorders, Alzheimer's disease, autoimmune disease, thymus glands, mental clarity, maintenance and protection of the immune system, synthesis and repair of RNA and DNA, and more. And so, and then finally we have Mahadikini Lore at www.mahadikini.com. Mahadikini Lore's life has been a personal journey exploring sexuality and spirituality for over 20 years. She's a certified tantric counselor and tantric healer and a certified mind sound teacher. Mahadikini Lore is also a graduate of Margot Anand's year-long Sky Dance and Tantric Facilitator Training Program, as well as a current member of the American Association of Sex Educators and Counselors and Therapists Club, as well as a charter member of the Association of Sexual Energy Professionals. She regularly attends trainings and conferences to keep current with the latest research and information of sexual education. And again, we're back to the Golden Age music show, again, talking with Jason Rotman, all the way out of California, about his album, Divine Devotion. So, Jason, if you can kind of just give us an overview about who Jason is, where you grew up at, and how you got involved into music and so forth.
Sure, thank you. So I was born in New York City. I grew up in a suburb right outside of Chicago, Illinois. And I grew up in a Jewish home, and I went to temple. I went to Jewish temples, and I learned Hebrew, and I had a bar mitzvah. And one of my first experiences actually of sacred music was in the Jewish temples that my family and I would go to, for services and whatnot. And there was a cantor named Amy Landau, and she would be, and it's interesting, the cantor, it sounds similar to the word chanter, and I think that is not a linguistic coincidence. And it's interesting that I kind of moved my devotional practice to, the sacred chanting, and my first experiences of sacred music was this, Jewish cantor. And the cantor means like the lead singer of the temple. And she just planted a seed, man, of like absolutely breathtaking devotional singing, to God. And her voice was just out of this world. It was rich, deep, and beautiful. And she put her heart and soul in it. And everyone knew, they're like, oh my God, Amy is like this brilliant, shining voice. And and I guess to be honest, this is actually one of the first times that I'm really voicing that she was one of the original inspirations to me. Because, I don't know, for some reason, I really didn't even go that far back when people ask me, like, oh, how'd you start? I actually don't typically start that far back. But now that I really think about it, she was one of my first exposures to real sacred music. And, fast forward a little bit, I guess, like, I went to college on the East Coast. I actually played, college athletics, which was a great experience. And even in college, I started to really expand my mind and just dive into different subject matters, philosophically, spiritually, psychologically. I majored in psychology. I wrote my senior thesis, like 100-page final paper, on, the relationship between, quote unquote, madness, the creative power of a person, and psychedelic drugs, and how there was some overlap between those three states from an actual neurological, an actual neurological component, as well as just subjective component as well. So I kind of started diving into that world. I've been fascinated by, what you can call paranormal stuff, ever since maybe late high school, early college. I wrote my junior paper, 25-page paper on the near-death experience phenomenon. So I really did a lot of research into people having near-death experiences and some of the common experiences that those people have, and what does that mean? Is there a spiritual world? Are people really seeing their long lost relatives? Are they really meeting Jesus? Are they really having a God experience? And I believe the answer is yes to all those questions. But intuitively, I just have kind of had this growing interest in spirituality and kind of the reality or the real dimension beyond just this kind of 3D physical world, and it's just utterly beautiful and fascinating to me. And then I started going to these Hare Krishna temples in 2000 and when I moved to San Diego. And really a lot happened, before that and after college. I'm happy to touch upon it, but I'm just trying to be concise. The Hare Krishna temples really opened my whole world up to, authentic devotional yoga. It's called Bhakti yoga. Really opened me up to the yoga sacred chant style of singing to God with, sacred mantras and harmoniums and drums. And, the sacred mantra practice is, of course, key to, the spiritual yoga path, I guess you could say. And that really opened me up to, doing Kirtan. I heard amazing monks and, devotees in the Hare Krishna temple sing. I was very, very touched, very, very inspired. And I just kind of caught the bug, and I started to learn some songs on the harmonium. I started to, with my wife's inspiration, set up Kirtan evenings at various local yoga studios. And it just snowballed, that energy of singing with people in a room with that spiritual intention creates a palpable energy and consciousness that is beautiful. And, you can feel it. You don't have to read about it to know it's real. You actually feel it. And the Kirtan is a great, I hesitate to call it a tool, but it's just a really great experience that really brings people together on that higher level. And again, it just snowballed from there. And then I had the great fortune of having a wonderful friend and also a musician. I know that I wanted to do an album. And so he introduced me to this amazing musician in person named John Thomas, who was the lead keyboardist for Bruce Hornsby. And Bruce Hornsby is like a living legend of music. He plays with the Grateful Dead, and it's just amazing. And JP is equally as amazing. And so JP became everything for my album. He was the producer, he was the engineer. I recorded it at his home studio, and it was just magical. And the album has been one of my life dreams, to actually have an album physically out there in the world. People can hear it. Hopefully people can be inspired and uplifted by it. And, the fact that it's out there now, I'm just really grateful that dream has been realized, and hopefully I could make more.
Got it. So now, okay, so let's take a step back. Now, first of all, where did you grow up at?
I grew up in the Chicago area. I didn't grow up in the city proper. I grew up in a nice, suburb called Deerfield, Illinois, like north of Chicago. So I wouldn't go to Chicago a ton. When I was a kid, it was a suburb. I went to a great high school. It was a great suburb. I had great friends there, and I'm certainly grateful for the whole upbringing and the environment. It was safe. It was wonderful, and that's where I grew up.
So now you grew up Jewish. Is that what I heard you say earlier?
You did hear me say that. That is true.
Got it. And so you started singing Jewish music. Is that what I heard you saying earlier?
No, well, I mean, not like with what I heard you say was I sang it in the temples, but more just because that's what people were doing. Like, it's not like I was like really taking initiative and saying like to myself, I'm going to sing Jewish music because I love it. It was just like I was going to the temple, and that's kind of what happened at the temple.
Got it. And that was emphasized. That was just part of the community that you were involved with, and that's what they did. Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah, exactly. But what I did emphasize was the main singer of the temple really just had this booming, beautiful, almost kind of mind-blowing in a sense, voice, and you could tell she put so much love and heart and soul that she was like the lead singer or cantor, as they call it, of the temple. And each time she sang, I was like, wow, like that is absolutely incredible. So she was really one of the first inspirations to me, really like putting your heart into singing. This
woman that sang Jewish music in the community that you grew up in, and that's who that's who you're talking about. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Got it. So you're singing music, and your parents are Jewish as well. Is that correct?
Parents, yes.
And did you have You have brothers and sisters as well?
I do. I have one sister who's having a beautiful baby in a month or so. Her name's Betsy, and she lives in Chicago with her husband. And it's interesting now, like just with these whole interviews, like there can be intention. I told you my intention before, you told me your intention before, and those intentions are great because they do set the tone. But all these other things, all these other micro things can come up that even though they do fulfill the intentions, it's like we can't even plan it. Like, for example, I didn't plan talking about this, woman, Amy, who's the cantor of the temple, but it just kind of spontaneously arose. And then now I'm starting to think, well, gosh, I should reach out to her, tell her how much it inspired me, and I should mail her a copy of the CD just to say that.
Right. Right.
And so it's just like, I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the interview, but the fact that thought, like, kind of arose out of the exchange is like it almost just proves that, just kind of the power of a real deep intention conversation, like so much magic can come from it. Because ultimately it's all about connection, and that's kind of a realization with the whole reach back out to Amy and send her a CD. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's really just about rebuilding and rediscovering and nourishing connection, between all of us. And that's
Right.
really, I think, what makes life rich and unique and kind of nourishes the heart and soul is that when people with good intentions connect with each other, it's, that's a beautiful thing.
So how long has it been since you've talked to this person?
I mean, probably, I'm 30 years, and I probably haven't spoken with her or even seen her maybe since, like, high school.
Right.
So, like, I mean, at least 20 years.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. 20. Wow. So
Maybe
that would
25.
be interesting if you reached out to her and talked to her and expressed to her that she inspired you to do the music that you're doing now. And I think
Yeah.
that would blow her away, right?
You know what? It's blowing me away now that that's even a possible reality, and I will do my best to find her info and reach out to her and send her the music. And yeah, absolutely, man. That's a really cool idea.
That would be a really pretty interesting. So anyhow, and you're growing up and you go to college. Now, at which point do you start doing Kirtan? Do you hear Kirtan for the first time and you go, oh yeah, I like that music. I want to do that. So how does that come about for you? I don't know that I caught that or not.
No. We didn't really kind of cover that specifically. That moment happened years after I graduated college. The college graduation was 2001. And then I moved to Chicago, lived in the city for 5 years. And I remember very, very specifically, I was standing in my living room in my apartment in Chicago, and I found a song. I downloaded a song, and I was actually a friend introduced me to Kirtan music, and he told me about this artist called Bhagavata.
Got it.
And I kind of just did some, I did some searching around. There was a lot of, online downloading music platforms back in the day, before Spotify and iTunes and whatnot. And so I think I just did a simple search, but then I ended up almost like unbeknownst to me, I ended up downloading a song from another artist. And, I didn't really know A from B in that Kirtan world, so I just downloaded a song. I think I saw the word Das in there. And it turned out to be a Krishna Das song. And Krishna Das is one of the, more well-known Kirtan artists, we have today. And so I downloaded a Krishna Das song, and that song is still one of my, top 5 songs, that I love the most. It's called the Maha Mantra Meltdown. And it's a 16-minute version of, him chanting the Hare Krishna mantra with a beautiful chorus. And when I first heard that song playing, it really literally touched a whole different place in my soul than any other music has really ever touched. And there was just something about his voice, and I don't even know what to say. There was something about the energy of that song and his voice and his devotion, and it just felt so sacred and so different than just pop music and stuff that's top 40 or even stuff that I love. Like one of my favorite bands growing up was Green Day and Pearl Jam and Dave Matthews and Queen. Freddie Mercury's a huge vocal inspiration, and all of that is great. But the Christian Dow song really just touched a different chord in me, and that's really when I guess there was one awakening and opening to like, wow, this is real sacred, kind of mystical, timeless devotional music, and this is amazing. And then, I left Chicago and I just kind of went on a whole two chapter journey of my life. I drove around the country. I stopped in different places, and I stopped in Santa Fe, and I ended up living in Santa Fe, New Mexico for a year. And I visited Sikh ashrams, and they have their own kirtan. And I didn't really get into kirtan like a ton in Santa Fe, although I did actually get into the Sikh Kundalini style of kirtan with like the Wade Guru and Satnam and stuff like that. And I went to some really cool events there, but the real immersion into the Hare Krishna kirtan, and again, ultimately, obviously, it's the same essence of, it's spiritual, devotion to God, essentially, just with different words and whatnot. But yeah, the Hare Krishna kirtan immersion really happened when I moved to San Diego in 2007 and started going to the Hare Krishna temple in Pacific Beach, California, San Diego. And that's what, like, literally walking into that temple for me was like walking into like a real living, breathing, devotional, authentic temple in India. And it was just absolutely amazing. I went to the Bhagavad Gita classes every night there. I learned from such amazing people, and I heard amazing music, and I started to sing that music, and I really loved it.
Got it. So now getting this straight. So were you still doing Jewish music when you were in college, and prior to that?
No, see, the thing is, so I never did Jewish music. like I never performed Jewish music in public. There was one time, like even much more recently, where I, with my wife, did a retreat actually in Patagonia, Arizona. Dr. Gabriel Cousins, his Tree of Life Center. He's a rabbi. He's a physician. He's a yoga, expert as well. So I actually put a Jewish chant to kind of a kirtan call and response deal. Yeah, that was really cool. But like up until then, like I was not doing Jewish music. I was not performing in public. So that really was not happening. Like my first real public, musical experiences where I'm singing with people really was the kirtan of the Hare Krishna way.
So you didn't really start doing anything in public till 2007 in San Diego. Is that what I hear you saying?
Yeah, from like a group music standpoint. I did a couple open. If you want to get like technical, like I did sing in public with a buddy of mine. We did some kind of your classic open mics at bars in Chicago, and we practiced different like secular. Well, I don't think it's secular because that's just putting in a box. But we practiced different songs from popular bands like the Beatles and U2 and Pearl Jam, and so we did some, and Radiohead, and so we sang some open mic songs at the bars in 2002, 2003. But other than that, I really didn't, perform or sing in front of people or with people a lot and consistently until 2007 with, kind of the Kirtan chapter opened up.
Got it. So and your parents. Now, what did your parents do growing up when you were growing up?
What did they do?
Yeah.
Like for work?
Yeah.
Well, my mom growing up was a stay-at-home mom. And
we call them home engineers, but that's fine. But yeah, go ahead.
For sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. The home, for sure. And my dad was in advertising and public relations. He worked for companies. He had his own, his own company, and so he helped companies, create advertising campaigns and product design and public relations campaigns. That's what he did. And he actually passed away 6 years ago, or almost 7 years ago, like 2 weeks before my daughter was born, who's now 6.5. So that was just a side by slide near hit there where he could have seen her in physical form, but I know that he knows that she's here and stuff like that. But he passed away just a couple weeks before she was born in 2011.
Wow, interesting. So so I guess the question is, your family wasn't really musically inclined. They weren't musicians. They were singers, dancers, or anything like that. Is that what I hear you saying?
Not professionally. Definitely not like professional musicians, but it's definitely important in the whole story to emphasize that, my dad was very musically inclined. He just didn't do it professionally. Like when he was younger in high school, he would be the DJ for the parties, and everybody knew that he loved music. And he would, he would sing in the car, and he would love, big doo-wop songs. He would harmonize with the Beach Boys. So there was a ton of music around us, I would say every day. And, music was always blasting in the car, and his love of music got transferred, to me. I mean, I saw it was just a model. Like I saw that he loved music and he felt free to sing and talk about music. And, so that was great, so it was definitely, and, my mom encouraged me to sing. I mean, they loved music. It was definitely a musical family, but just not like professionally.
You got it. So you guys just like to sing around the house, sing in the shower, or whatever, and
right.
and that was your part of your community, well, your daily life, your family life. So and then in 2007 you discovered the Krishna temples, and you started really dwelling into those and really learning a whole new way of life, and that's where your musical inclination kicked in at, and that's what I hear you saying.
Absolutely.
Got it. So you're singing your music, and then when do you decide? Well, when did this group form that you're talking about, and when did you guys decide that you're going to do an album?
When did I decide I'm going to do an album?
Yeah, and when did the group get together for the first time, or how'd that come about?
The cool thing about how the Kirtan evenings still go and started to go in San Diego was it was always dynamic. Like my wife and I were the core, and one night it would be these two friends, and another night it would be one of those friends plus two other friends. So it was really dynamic, and we did not have a set band. It was very communal. That's really the best word to describe it. It was very, very communal. People played with each other, and it was really, really awesome network of just great people that all aim to encourage each other and then support each other. So it was really, really neat like that. And as far as the album, when did that start? I mean, I started playing out in 2007. Really, it's not that far away after that first playing day. As I started to learn more chants, learn more mantras, learn more melodies, I started to think, well, gosh, I would love to have this as an album. And my wife certainly was a huge factor in me even playing that first Kirtan evening at a yoga studio, because in my mind, I was like, gosh, like, I don't think I'm ready for that. I only know a few chants. And she said, of course you're ready. Like, if you only know a few, like, learn a couple more. And so
right.
Literally that was a huge shift, because for me, I was coming from one place mentally, a limited place, and she was coming from this positive, unlimited place of like, no, like, do it. Like, why are you waiting? Like, do it.
Right.
And she also encouraged me to build my first social media profile for the band. Actually, if you remember MySpace, I had a Krishna Kirtan MySpace page, and she encouraged me to do that. So it was a huge impact that she had on really getting us off the ground. And then, I met, and it's just how the whole thing works. I mean, this guy Win Paris, who actually has created this incredible yoga festival called the Love Light Festival that's really blowing up now. And he is and was a Kirtan singer. I saw him, and this is just how the story goes. I mean, I saw that he was coming to Encinitas, California to play Kirtan. I think I reached out to him probably in 2008, and I said, hey, Win, Pia and I, my wife and I are going to come here to sing. We also do Kirtan here locally. Like, if you want a backup singer or something, like, I would love to contribute. Just let me know. And so that's how I connected with Win, and Win ended up inviting me to sing with him at this yoga place in Encinitas. So Win and I became friends, and Win knew that I wanted to do an album, and Win has this great friend named JT, who's this legendary musician and great person. And so Win played matchmaker artistically and introduced JT and I. And he said, hey, Jason wants to make an album. JT's got a home studio, go for it. And that was 2008. And then I just started driving up to JT's house several times a year. And we just recorded, piece by piece, song by song. And it was just an amazing process to work with them.
Nice. So now, before you went to San Diego, you were married or you weren't married?
Not married. I met my wife in San Diego in 2000.
Oh.
Yeah.
So she's a San Diego person. Okay, fine. Now I understand. So, all right.
Well, she actually moved to San Diego just months before I met her, actually.
Oh, really? So that's interesting. So
I moved to San Diego about 6 months before we met. So we were actually both new to San Diego, relatively.
Got it. So that you were both destined to meet. So
yes.
So anyhow, what are your intentions? What were your intentions behind this album then?
Oh God, I mean, pretty simple. I just the whole time I was envisioning just the end result of the album as somebody listening to it on their headphones, focusing on the music, focusing on the sound, possibly singing along, and really just experiencing this ecstasy, this just incredibly high love, like deep, rich love vibration of spirituality and of joy. Like, that's literally the end result that I want. And obviously the more people the better, but starting with one person. I mean, if one person can have that experience that I feel like I want them to have, like, for lack of a better way of putting it, like, that's the goal. I mean, I want people to experience the spirituality, the spiritualness of the music, and have an authentic experience by listening to this music, and have a healing experience, have a heart opening experience, really be transformed by the album. That's my goal.
Got it. So with that in mind, let's do that. Let's play some of your music. What would you like to start out first with?
What are we doing?
The Divine Devotion album. What music?
No, in other words, like, are we like listening to a song and talking about it? Like, how's the format?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna play whatever song you want to play right now, and then if you can just give us some background on that song in terms of how it came about.
Yeah, I mean, we could start with track number 1.
Okay. And how did that song come about? What is it? What are your intentions behind that song? What does it mean to you?
So the track number 1, if I remember correctly, Olo, and Rama is a word for God in the Indian spiritual, pantheon or culture. God comes in different forms, and God has different names. And Ram is one of the forms of God. And so Rama is also kind of referring to this person, Ram. And so Ram is the name of God. Supposedly that was the last word on Mahatma Gandhi's lips right before he passed on. He said Ram. And that's kind of one of the teachings of spiritual yoga is it's as much as possible, you should try to focus your mind on God right before, your soul passes on from your body. And that's a goal of the whole life practice of focusing on God, is that
Right.
during a very difficult time, your mind and soul is still focused on, the source of all creation, God. God. And bolo simply means chant. So it's like chant the name of God. So it's just chant the name of God. And the melody is a very, very classic Kirtan melody. I did not make up that melody. There are some parts in the song that I kind of improvised melodies that I did, if you want to call it that, like make the melodies up. But the base melody is a classic melody. And, the intention, the intention of the whole album is just the same as the intention of this song. It's just literally, I want to provide people with musical ecstasy. That's really my intention. And this song is just kind of track one of that whole album's intention.
Got it.
And as far as to be a little bit more specific, I wanted the album to be. It's tricky to even say that I wanted it to be. It's just like that's what happened by working with JC. It was just so amazing that the album turned out to be a very modern, if you can say that, a very modern, very rich, ridiculously beautifully produced album. So like Rama Bolo, even though it's a traditional melody, like that track is not that this is a bad thing, obviously. It's not just like a singer and a drum. It's like a full-on modern, like multi-layered synthesizer, sitar, like just incredibly produced track that I think still has that authentic, beautiful love energy in it. And so my intention was just to, and sorry, I'm kind of jumping around. As far as Ramabolo, there's some parts of Ramabolo which are full-on, like harmony, where it's like I'm harmonizing with 5 different tracks of myself. And Pia's on there, and she's harmonizing as well. And some of those harmonies remind me of like the Beach Boys harmony. So I feel like if my dad would have ever listened to that song, he would have loved it, because a lot of it does have this beautiful harmonies involved. And so my intention was just kind of to make the richest, juiciest, love-filled track I could.
Got it. So let's send out love, blessings, healings, angels of light and love to all the clergy out there, and to all the Krishna people, the Krishna devotees out there, and also I don't know if nuns are included, but to all the nuns, all the people that are working in the religious sects that are at least working towards helping people in whatever regard. Let's send out love, blessings, healings, angels of light and love to you and your family, Jason, to me, my family, to our vehicles and places of residence that help take care of us. Anybody you want to add to that right now?
Add to sending prayers and blessings to?
Yes.
Oh gosh, well, why not? Why not everyone in the world? Why not all living beings in the universe, especially children who are in compromised situations that maybe need an infusion of faith and hope? That's a group that I'd like to add to this uplifting energy of pure divine love and the protection and faithfulness of God to His children and to His offspring, spiritually. Really anybody who is suffering from feeling a lack of hope or trapped by some type of internal or external oppressor, people who are wanting
Right.
more freedom.
Got it.
I want to bless, I want to be an instrument of blessing to especially children who, need freedom from oppression of any type.
Of authority. Okay, good. So we'll be back again. Rama Bolo from Jason Rotman's album Divine Devotion. We will be back, and we're going to talk some more about his album.
Rama Bolo, Rama Bolo, 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 Rama Bolo,
And we're back. This is Aloha live out of Flagstaff, Arizona with Spiritual Image Productions on free conference call and YouTube, establishing and maintaining right relationships with human life. Tonight we're doing the Golden Age Music Show. We're talking with Jason Rotman all the way out of California about his album Divine Devotion. And in fact, just to let you know, the introductory song that we had at the beginning, at the opening of this show, we started it out with his song called "Open Your Heart" from his album Divine Devotion as well. So, and in fact, now you said you were okay. You were okay with us doing using that song as the introduction song for these shows. Is that correct, Jason?
Of course.
Yeah. So there you hear it, folks, and especially CD Baby, who's such a pain in the butt, who always comes at me with all these claims, and they don't have no real jurisdiction over anybody's albums except that they're selling them through their site, and that's about it. But anyhow, so Jason tells us that he grew up in the Chicago area, near the Chicago area, and even though his family wasn't a musical family, they did a lot of music stuff anyhow. They sang a lot and played music a lot, and then Jason graduated from college and eventually moved to now he said, now you said that you were doing some open mic stuff, and you were playing some, you and a friend were doing some music on some open mic stuff. Is that correct, Jason?
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
And then eventually he moved to San Diego, where he met his wife, and who inspired him, or who supported him in doing this album. So he got involved with the Hare Krishna group, Krishna devotees, and started playing Kirtan, doing Kirtan there, learning a lot about Krishna, and then eventually he got to a point that he said, well, why don't we do this an album? So he wanted to do an album. Now, who's the friend that you said that came out and you eventually started recording in the studio? Is that JT?
Who was the friend that I did the open mic with?
No. Who was the one that you eventually finally said, hey, well, I want to do an album, and this guy let you use his studio to do this album?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't only let me use the studio. He produced the thing, he engineered the thing. Like, it was a whole contribution. It was a whole synergy. But yes, that was John Thomas.
Got it. Who was also in the same music group with Bruce Hornsby. And now he was a producer for Bruce Hornsby, or he was what did he do for Bruce Hornsby?
He was lead keyboardist, and he still is. I mean, he travels the world when Bruce Hornsby goes on tour. He's amazing. He's highly accomplished keyboardist. I mean, he's brilliant.
Nice, nice. So you got involved, and now you still live in the San Diego area, or where do you live now?
Southern California, a little bit up the road in Orange County, Costa Mesa, California.
Got it. Now I actually lived there for a few months, several months with a girlfriend there, and then I came back here to Arizona. I said I'm going back to Arizona. That's okay. So
Yeah.
what else? What's going on? What else is going on with you now? Did you cut another album as well?
Not yet. I haven't really put a lot of focus on that as of late. We have a 1.5-year-old boy named Solomon. He has a 6.5-year-old sister. They both have a 15-year-old sister. And so the focus really now and just of recent times is, nourishing the family. Both my wife and I work full time. And for me personally, I endeavor to nourish my soul and spirituality through, I still love to sing. We play at the major festivals of yoga music, such as Bhakti Fest and Shakti Fest in Arizona. And, the main creative project after the album was this poetry book, this spiritual poetry book, that I've been working on for years, similar to the music project. Like it was kind of a soul dream, to have it in form. And I had a book come out this past June, so just about 5 months ago. And that was really the main creative project since the album. And now that's complete as well. And so I don't quite know what the next project is or will be, but really the project right now is doing the best I possibly can to nourish my family and to have a harmonious home.
Got it. Now, okay, so and you're still doing the Kirtan with the community and all that stuff as well. Is that correct?
Yes. There's various wonderful opportunities that I have to contribute to various yoga teacher training modules and courses that local yoga studio owners put on to have. They have these 8-week teacher training courses where students that go to the studios that want to become teachers, enroll to become a teacher. And some studio owners have invited me to contribute lectures and discussions on the spirituality and kind of the history of yoga. I'll contribute some Kirtan and music and kind of explain that and give people experience of what that's like. So that's been really a neat expansion for me as well to kind of start to teach and share. And that's, I feel grateful that I get to do that.
Got it. So now the group, this Kirtan group, is it just you and your wife, or there's other people that are part of this group even now?
There's other people, but it's not fixed. It's dynamic. It's just a community thing. I'll make calls if there's an event that we have, and I'll call my friend Ari and Diego, who's an incredible djembe player and guitarist, singer. Or if he's not available, I'll try to find like another friend to call. So it's not a fixed group. It's just kind of like a community thing.
So and I guess I don't know what you and your wife do for a living, but is there I don't know, you don't want to go on the road, do a road trip and do a whole Kirtan thing for a whole week or something like that?
That'd be really cool. That'd be really neat. As far as do I want to do that?
Right?
Yeah. The thing is, like, I love the spiritual events. I love facilitating spiritual events where people can come and dive into spirituality. Like, I love that a lot.
Got it.
Every single time, people come away with such a great experience, and it brings people so close together, and I love it. As far as traveling around, doing that, I think right now in this kind of phase, it's just kind of not in the cards. At least that's what I think. I mean, whatever God wants, then so be it. But at this point in my own mind, it's like that's not necessarily part of this phase right now. Is like super traveling around like the world. You know, when we had less children, like
right.
Vancouver, for P and I went to Vancouver one time for the Vancouver Yoga Festival, and we played music there, and we freely went to Arizona for Gabriel Cousins retreats so many times. And right now, especially with the 1.5-year-old and kids in school, like this is a 5-person family, and we're sticking together here and just giving it our best here at home every day, and to really travel around the country of the world doing kirtan. While that sounds awesome from a pure spiritual perspective, like it'll come at a later point in life when we travel more. But right now, it's about nourishing our spirituality, making great connections, but really nourishing the base here at home.
Well, I'm thinking like maybe during the summertime when the kids don't have to be in school, and you can get away for about a week and just do a road trip for about a week and a half, or even 2 weeks, and just do about 4, 5, 8, 6, 7, 8 different gigs, and you can do some gigs going up, and then you can do some gigs coming back, and that'll cover your expenses for your whole road trip, and you can experience some new territory, and then expand your services. That's what I'm thinking.
Thank you for that idea. Totally.
So you might want to think about that. So
okay.
Well, I tell you what. Let's go ahead and play some more music, and then we'll come back and talk to you some more about what else is going on in your world there now. What do you want to play next?
Yeah. So, well, I love the second track, which is JJ Ma. The only thing I would humbly say is, like, since these songs are longer than like the 3-minute songs on the radio and stuff, like,
right.
I would say maybe play some snippets of songs or something. For JJ Ma is like 8 or 9 minutes, and just from a time standpoint and people's attention and both of our time, like, I would love to cover as much as possible, but kind of within the time arrangement. So JJ Ma is one of my favorite songs of the whole album, but maybe kind of find a portion to play it, and then we can talk about it if that's okay.
Okay. So give us some background on this song. What influenced you to do this song?
So I was in the shower one day, and this melody came to me that ultimately turned into the JJ Ma melody that people hear on the album. And the melody, I just started to sing this JJ Ma melody in the shower, and it was in the middle of that whole album making period, so I was in that creative groove. And then I decided that I was going to, bring that melody to the studio and make a song out of it. And the melody just transformed a little bit to the melody that was recorded on the album. And, Ma is a word for the Divine Mother, the Divine Mother presence. However somebody can relate to that. I can't really explain it per se, because it's just this feeling. The mother of creation, and the mother from a personal standpoint is unconditional love and nourishment and support, and so JJ Ma is just kind of an acknowledgement and an expression of love towards this force that loves us, this divine mother, and our mothers are expressions of this divine mother. The higher kind of abstract stuff like Divine Mother and this and that, kind of hard to just like talk about, like you're talking about the weather, but it's just like this spiritual force of love, and with different names and different expressions. So JJ Ma is this awesome, super high energy, modern, almost like electronic music backbeat style song that is one of my favorites by far. It's really, really, I'm so glad how it turned out. It's really high energy. It's really rich. It's very, very powerful at sometimes. Some of the parts of the song sound like Boston. That guy, if you remember Boston, kind of like the 70s rock band.
Right, yeah.
This guy just had an amazing voice with his guitar, and it's just a really, really cool song. So, people seem to like that song. It's a great song for driving in the car and just kind of blasting it. And so I kind of wanted to make this song a little bit of with some EDM, elements, with like cool build-ups and beats and stuff, and JT just added that. If you listen closely, you'll hear some of that, like kind of electronic dance music, like build-up and then kaboom style beats and stuff. And it just worked out really well.
Got it. So let's send out love, blessings, healings, angels of light, and love to all those mothers out there, to all those women, and even men who are taking on the service of being a nurturer, a mother, somebody that's supportive as a mother. And we will be back. JJ Ma by Jason Rotman from his album Divine Devotion, and we'll come back and talk some more.
Om Shri Ma Jaya Jaya Ma 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 Jaya Ma 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 Jaya Ma Ma Jaya Jaya Ma Jaya Ma 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 Jaya Ma Jaya Jaya Ma. Om Shri Ma Jaya Ma Om Shri Ma Jaya 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 Jaya Ma Jaya Ma Jaya Ma Jaya Jaya Ma
So that was the taste of J.J. Ma by Jason Rotman from his album Divine Devotion. And so what's going on in your world now, Jason? Are you getting ready to attend any events or anything, or what's going on?
I'm not. You know what? I'm not really planning on attending any events soon. Right now, truthfully, it's my mind is just focused on nourishing my family. And
Your family, huh?
I'm really at this stage, literally very, very currently, I'm just starting to think bigger picture about how I can best kind of manifest my life mission and my life purpose to the world. I know, and that's just kind of where I'm at. I am working. I'm actually in well, not actually, but I am in the professional finance industry with, I'm a futures broker. I help people invest their money. And I've been in that industry since 2002. And, spiritually and just kind of internally, I'm really starting to just think and intend what's a bigger, what's a bigger expression of me? What's a higher expression of me that I can start to put out there and really help a lot of people and really just add deep value to people. And this is part of that. And I really appreciate the opportunity to share it because I love sharing. And, even more than I love sharing, I love when people, receive it positively and they're positively affected. So with all that said, my focus is really on creating a harmonious, relationship with my wife, creating a harmonious family experience, making sure that my children are learning and are exposed to positive information, to positive things. That's a huge focus for me. With everything on YouTube and everything that's just accessible at their fingertips, I want to make sure that I'm taking personal responsibility to introduce to them positive concepts, read positive, spiritually focused bedtime stories to them, whether it's from the Jesus tradition or whether it's from the yoga tradition of karma and this and that. That's really my focus is kind of put my heart into that. And as far as events and festivals, so many events and festivals around the country, we just, part of our kind of focus right now.
Are you planning on attending anything next year?
Yeah, for sure. Next year is, certainly in May, there's Shakti Fest, which is kind of the sister festival to the big one in September, Bhakti Fest. That one's in Joshua Tree every year. We're going to play there. That's in May. As far as between now and May, hopefully a lot of cool stuff comes up, but that's just really the next main festival that we're going to play music at.
Got it.
And then in actually next week in Orange County here, I will be teaching during a yoga teacher training and actually introducing Kirtan to the yoga teacher training group in Orange County. So that's really coming up quite soon, actually, and it's a great opportunity to kind of get people together and have them sing together and share a little bit about what we're talking about now.
Got it. And where's that yoga? Is there still seats available for that yoga training? Or is that sold out or what?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a phenomenal question. I don't know if it's going to be open to the public per se. It might be. It's at Sumit's Yoga in Nellie Gale, which is just a place in Orange County. I think it may be for the people who are already enrolled in the teacher training. That's a great question. I don't know 100% for sure, but I think it's for the teacher training.
Got it, specifically.
But I'd love it to be open and it actually may well be. We didn't really discuss it specifically.
Now, who's doing the yoga training and what's it called? You said it was there near Orange County. So what are we talking about?
Yeah, her name, I mean, the owner of these studios, which are phenomenal studios in Orange County, her name's Robin. And, Robin is a friend of she originally met my wife, and I kind of met Robin through my wife. And we all share a lot of common passions, and Robin knows that I love to sing, and she's heard us play, and she's heard me sing, and she knows that I'm passionate about spirituality and sharing it with people. And so she's just invited me a couple times to kind of teach and share my experiences and some cool knowledge about, the history of yoga and different styles of the different spiritual yoga teachers that have come up in recent times.
Got it.
Share Kirtan with them.
So, okay. And then anything else you got going on this year, or that's the only major thing you got going on for now?
You know what? It's I would say that's the only major thing I can think of, kind of in that in that category. We're going to Chicago at the end of the year, just as a family. My mother lives there, so it's always a blessing when we all get to be together, with family. We're all out here in California. She's in Chicago. And just from like a musical event, standpoint, like that's really the main thing between now and the new year, I would say.
Got it. So what other song do you want to play right now? We got time for one or two more songs.
Yeah, no, we can do one more for sure. Well, you know what? I mean, honestly, I love all of them. I mean, the first three are really, are like awesome songs. So really, the third one, I would say, the third one is Hare Krishna Magic. Maybe that could be the last song we play, because that's a really meaningful track to me. That was the first song recorded for the album. That's track number 3. And that's almost like the lead track, at least in my mind, maybe just because it was the first one we did. But that's a very special song to me, and I have a couple of reasons why. I'm happy to have you play that. Okay,
and so what's the scoop on this song?
So again, it's the first song that we recorded, and how it happened was I was in the studio with JT, and I believe Win Paris, who's the guy that co-founded the Love Light music festivals, which are now, exploding on the scene. They just got written up in Rolling Stone for people who are listening that are looking for amazing festivals. This one's called the Love Light Festival. And Win Paris was in the studio as well. Win's the guy that introduced JT and myself. And so we were, kind of all chatting and talking about, okay, well, this is going to be the first song that we're gonna record. What should we do? And so JT just started to play. He found this drum beat track, and he started to play it. And then Win said, "Oh, you should do this." And then Win started to sing a traditional Kirtan Hare Krishna melody.
Right.
And then I'm like, no. And because I like to improvise in general, that's just part of my nature. I love comedy. I've taken improv comedy classes. Comedy was my first love. So I love extemporaneous creativity like a lot. And so the whole traditional melody thing, I didn't really. I mean, great idea by Win, you know what I mean? But I just didn't personally choose to use it. But it did help me. It did help me because it made me realize what I didn't necessarily want, and it helped me move towards what I did want, even though I didn't know exactly how it was going to turn out. So I went into the studio singing booth, and I just said, okay, JT, just go ahead and play the track, and I'll just kind of see what comes out. And I just basically I just started to sing this melody, and it's an original melody in a sense. I didn't really borrow, I didn't really take it from somewhere. And I mean, of course, everything is connected, so it's been influenced by many things, of course. But for all intents and purposes, it's an original melody, and it was just totally improvised. And that 100% improvised. That whole track was one take.
Wow!
So it was the first take and the only take. The whole track was one and only take.
Nice.
And that was kind of a cool element of the song as well. And so that was one really neat element, that it was the first track. It was totally improvised. It was one take. And then after that song was over, I remember sitting on JT's couch and having him play it through these huge, amazing speakers. And for me, I really did. I was closing my eyes and I just was kind of drifting in and out of, regular awareness. And I felt and I sensed this presence, almost like this acknowledgement from the Hare Krishna main guru, whose name is Srila Prabhupada, who kind of brought the Hare Krishna movement to the West from India. And I really, truly did feel his acknowledgement and his connection to this song that, without him, I mean, 100% this album never would have happened, because he's the direct, he's the direct channel of the Hare Krishna movement from India to the West, more or less. He came in 1965, I think. And so that first song was very, very meaningful because it's the authentic, ancient Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which he was a big proponent of. And it was a beautiful song. And I just felt very, very connected to him. I really felt his spirit, and it was a really amazing experience, actually. So that was another really special element.
Nice. So let's go.
It was almost like an offering to him. Like it was like a song for him in a sense.
Got it. So let's go ahead and send out love, blessings, healings, angels of light, and love to him, and to all the Hare Krishna people out there, to the Krishna devotees, to the President of the United States, and all his entourage. That guy needs some help. And then to all the rest of the kids and the animals and the plants and the minerals on this planet, especially the ones in need concern. To everyone else in need and concern, we will be back. Hare Krishna Magic by Jason Rotman in his album Divine Devotion.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda, Govinda, Gopal. Govinda, Govinda, Gopal, Govinda, Govinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Govinda, Govinda, Gopal, 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 Govinda, 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 Gopal, Govinda, Govinda, Gopal. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare
And we're back with the Golden Age Music Show. Yeah, Andrew Aloha, myself, and I here in Flagstaff, Arizona, with Spiritual Miss Productions on YouTube and free conference call, talking with Jason Rotman, all the way out of San Diego, California, with his album Divine Devotion. So, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing with us, Jason, about your album, about your life, about your family, about your adventures, right?
Yes, absolutely. That is true.
Right. So, now if people want to get a hold of you to bring you on for lectures or for music or to get to order your album, where's the best place for them to do that at?
Well, to get in touch, they can go to Facebook and just go to my profile, add me as a friend, Jason Rotman, Rotman. I'll give my email address out, JASROTMAN @gmail. They can shoot me an email there. It's probably the easiest way, and I'm happy to listen to and kind of honor any requests and conversations. And as far as the album, it's on iTunes, Krishna Kirtan, Divine Devotion. It's on Spotify. The album comes brilliantly done by Saraswati Dasi, this amazing devotee who's just a brilliant artist. He did the cover art for my album as well as my book. My poetry book is called 72 Messages of Love. That's on Amazon as well. And there's a poem about my adventures across the country, meeting different people in that book called This Great Adventure. And it's about my road trip out of Chicago to the West Coast. So it's apropos to use the word adventure about what's going on, Andrew. And I'm really grateful to be able to be talking with you. And I love your positive blessings that you're sending out to everybody. And thanks for putting it together.
Good. And then the website that you have listed here is Krishna's Kirtan, KIRTAN.com. If you want more information on Jason and his album and some of the other stuff that's going on. So again, I want to thank you for sharing your information, and we're going to be listening to some of his music throughout the month, in the other shows that we're going to be doing. So next week we've got the Golden Age Psychic Show that we're going to be doing on Friday night. We have two guests, Reverend Marietta White and also Ambika Devi, who we're going to be bringing on to do readings along with myself. And then on Sunday, I can't tell you what's going on Sunday because I don't have that schedule right now in front of me. But anyhow, there's going to be all kinds of stuff going on next weekend. And also for those of you that like doing the meditations with me, we're going to be doing a special Thanksgiving meditation on literally on Thanksgiving. So and that's going to be about a week and a half or so. So it'll be in the afternoon from 2 to 4 p.m. There'll be a special blessing that'll be passed down, and you can get in on that just by sitting down and being still, being quiet, and that's what meditation is. Just listening to yourself, listening to your environment and everything else that's going on. So we're bringing on Ken Johnson with his book called Ken's Moon Autobiography, talking about all kinds of space stuff, alien stuff, UFO stuff, and whatever else. Anyhow, I want to thank all of you for stopping by. Have a God guided week. Be the love that you are, always have been, and always will be. Aloha.